It's time again for the ALCIVIA Co-op Talk chats, where we focus in on different elements that of service and product and partnership that ALCIVIA Cooperative offers members across the state of Wisconsin. And that partnership can pay big dividends, especially at a time when we're looking at supply chain disruptions, and we're also looking at escalated costs, Bob, on just about everything we touch, from our energy sources to our fertilizer. Needing a partner on our side to try to save those pennies is kind of critical.
Absolutely, Pam. You know, the headlines have been fertilizer prices and where they are going, but there are other inputs on the farm that you need to be aware of if you're into animal agriculture. I had a chance to talk about that with Aric Dieter, who's Vice President of Animal Nutrition with ALCIVIA Cooperatives. And Aric and I got to talking about contracting these ingredients and how it actually works working with the professionals at ALCIVIA.
As we all know, the last 2 to 3 years here, volatility has been the name of the game, whether it's on inputs or whether it's on outputs. And it's more and more important every day to be considering what are the options on the inputs for our contracting needs to help take out some of that risk and help protect some of our margin as we're working through whether it's raising beef or some of our milk outputs to help ensure our producers are looking to lock in some profits. There's been some opportunities the last 2 to 3 years with the markets moving up and down, but it really takes an educated approach to understand when may be the right time to secure some of those inputs for your feed needs, and when may be the right type of approach from a risk management standpoint to take and execute that.
What's the status right now, Aric, of commodities? We hear about fertilizer, but what about the feed commodities? How much of a fluctuating market are we living in?
You know, we've seen some historical lows here in the last 18 to 24 months on some of the proteins and other sources, as well as some of the historical highs. So, you know, we typically look at that in segments, whether it's a protein source, a fiber source, or a fat source. And when you look at both the fiber and fat sources today, both remain very high compared to historical and are not currently offering a very good opportunity to contract. Proteins, however, following, you know, the last week's stocks reports on soybeans, have created some pretty good numbers and values versus historical, and right now is a pretty good time to be looking at your needs for the next 12 months on maybe your protein or your soybean meal needs.
So based on what we're seeing as far as the stocks report, you're talking about contracting as far out as a whole year.
Correct, yeah. I think in today's world with the volatility, you know, we may be looking, instead of 1 month out, we're looking at 6 months, 12 months, 18 months out to really look forward on the cycle of what's happening from a global perspective. And that's the world we live in today. We've got to look that far out to look at those opportunities.
You mentioned the soil, the proteins, things like that. What are some of those that are especially tight right now and you may want to take a closer look at?
Canola meal, if you're typically feeding canola meal as a protein source, you know, the canola crop was not very good this year during harvest. It's very tight in today's market. But with the extra 100 million bushel of soybean meals that was identified last week in the stocks report between old and new crop, you know, it seems like our carryout numbers on soybeans are going to be pretty positive, which soybean is a very attractive number right now when you look at the versus historical.
Aric Dieter with us, the Vice President of Animal Nutrition with ALCIVIA Co-op and our ALCIVIA Co-op Talk program. And I guess, Aric, the next question, is this for everybody, or are there certain people this works better for, or certain ones that qualify for these contracting opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think many times our producers don't understand that it does work for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a 50-cow dairy, a 5,000-cow dairy, a 50-head feed yard, or a 500-head feed yard. You know, the contracting opportunities are available for everyone, and that can be for a single ingredient in your mix for the next year, or that can be for a complete mix that you're looking to contract delivered to your facility.
Who do we contact and how do we contact the right folks at ALCIVIA at all the locations to find out more, Aric, about ingredient contracting? What's the formula to do it right?
Yeah, the formula to do it right would be to talk to your local ALCIVIA representative, and they can put you in touch with the right people in our procurement and our contracting group. Or if you just visit our website, we've got the direct contacts to the people that are in those markets all day, every day, that are more than willing to assist just with education and help you understand what we're seeing, and then you can help us make the decision when the time's right and what works for your own risk protection.
Depend on the experts. They're available for your animal nutrition needs at ALCIVIA Cooperative. Aric Dieter with us, Vice President of Animal Nutrition on our ALCIVIA Co-op Talk. I'm Bob Bosold.